Everybody talks about how Michael Carter vanished without a trace. But nobody ever asked why he was desperate to leave his wife, or what happened within 24 hours before his entire business of 13 years went up in flames. This isn't just a missing person case. It's the story of a man who wanted out from a struggling marriage. But the mystery here is, was he taken out by someone because he wanted out? Tonight, we're looking into the disappearance of Michael Carter, a husband who vanished in the morning after late-night divorce talks with his wife, and a fire that seemed to burn away every answer. But what investigators found inside the ashes, a single melted object, would rewrite everything they thought they knew about that night. To understand what happened, we need to go back to where the story began, to a marriage that once looked ordinary, even happy. Michael lived in Pine Hollow, Virginia, a small town with a population of about 9,000 people. The kind of town where gossip travels faster than traffic and everyone knows everyone's license plate. Michael owned Carter's Auto Works, the only full-service mechanic shop on Main Street. His wife, Lauren, ran a small home decor store a few blocks down. From the outside, they looked like the textbook small-town couple, 2 kids in middle school, a brick house with a porch swing, Sunday service at St. Anne's. But behind that picture was a marriage slowly coming apart. And in April of 2021, it finally cracked over one conversation that started with bills, arguments, and finally ended with a missing person report. Michael's friends said they saw the tension coming for months. Lauren told one friend Michael had been sleeping at the shop more often than home. Michael told a coworker he felt like a stranger around his own life. The day before he vanished, Lauren texted him, "We need to talk, no running away this time." That night, April 16, 2021, around 8 p.m., they sat in their kitchen. The kids were at Lauren's sister's house. According to Lauren's later statement, she told Michael she wanted a divorce. She said he just nodded, no shouting, no fight, and after a long silence he said, "I'll sleep at the shop tonight. We'll talk in the morning." He grabbed his jacket and left. Lauren said she watched his taillights fade into the dark. But a neighbor's security camera would tell a slightly different story. The footage, timestamped 8:42 p.m., shows Michael's truck pulling out of the driveway. But the camera catches something odd. A second pair of headlights parked down the street, facing the house. The vehicle leaves only 30 seconds after Michael's. Police still haven't identified it. By 9:15 p.m., Michael's phone pinged near Carter's Auto Works, half a mile away. At 9:27, the phone went dark. That's where the digital trail ends. The next morning, when employees arrived, his truck was there, but he wasn't. Inside his office, they found a note and a smell of oil and burnt rubber that no one could quite explain. By mid-morning, the Carters' perfect life had begun to splinter. Lauren told police her husband was probably cooling off, that he'd done this before. But by the following night, the town would be watching live news footage of his shop engulfed in flames, and asking themselves, was Michael Carter ever coming back, or had someone already decided he wouldn't? Morning broke over Pine Hollow with that damp spring chill that clings to the streets after a night of rain. Employees unlocked the bay doors of Carter's Auto Works right at 8. The smell of metal and motor oil still hung thick in the air, but there was something else, the faint, chemical scent of burnt rubber. Michael's pickup sat exactly where he always parked it, front left space, keys still in the ignition. His wallet lay on the passenger seat. Inside the shop, coffee was cold in the pot, one mug half filled. The security camera above the door had been unplugged. And on the desk in his office, a folded note that would confuse investigators for months. The paper was torn from a small spiral notebook. It read, "I just need time to think. Don't come looking." But the signature was sloppy, and detectives would later learn that Michael rarely abbreviated anything. When police dusted the paper for prints, they found 2 sets. One was Michael's, the other belonged to his wife. At first, officers believed Lauren simply handled it while searching the office. But the placement of her prints, pressed over the ink, suggested she'd touched it after it was written. Which begged the question, if she found the note, when had she really seen it? Lauren maintained she hadn't been near the shop since the night before. She told police she spent that morning at her sister's, taking the kids to a school event. Her phone data backed that up, But around 6 a.m., there was a 30-minute window when her phone went offline. The tower pinged again near Route 14, the road leading directly to Michael's business place. Lauren brushed it off, saying her phone often lost service in that area. Investigators marked it down, but in small towns like Pine Hollow, police tread carefully when suspicion points toward familiar faces. As daylight stretched over Main Street, word spread fast that Michael hadn't shown up. Customers pulled in for scheduled oil changes and saw police tape instead. "He wouldn't just leave like that," said Rick Dalton, one of his mechanics. "Mike was steady. The kind of guy who left you a note if he'd be 5 minutes late." Detectives searched the workshop and storage sheds. No sign of struggle. No blood. Nothing missing except Michael himself. Yet, in the breakroom trash bin, they found the torn cover of a notebook, the same kind the note had been written on. But that notebook didn't belong to Michael. It was from Lauren's home office, part of a matching set she kept for bookkeeping. When asked, Lauren admitted the notebook was hers. "He probably grabbed it," she said. "He used my things all the time." But officers couldn't shake the unease. Why would a man planning to disappear leave behind his keys, truck, and wallet, but take time to write a note on his wife's stationery? The longer Michael stayed missing, the more questions piled up. Then, just as the police prepared to issue a statewide alert, a new detail emerged, one that seemed small at first. A convenience store camera 2 blocks away captured a blurry figure at 5:42 a.m. The person wore a hoodie and carried what looked like a gas can. The face was turned from the lens, but the posture, tall, slightly hunched, was consistent with Michael's. Investigators initially believed it could be him, perhaps buying supplies before leaving town. But the timestamp raised doubts. The store didn't open until 6 a.m. The door in the footage was clearly locked. Whoever that was, they weren't shopping, they were waiting. Waiting for what? Or for who? No one could tell. As hours turned into night, volunteers combed the outskirts of Pine Hollow. Drones scanned the woods. Dogs picked up a scent behind the shop but lost it near the riverbank. Detectives collected a few items from the trail: a torn piece of denim, boot prints half erased by rain, and a single car key buried in mud. The key matched Michael's set, but his full ring was still on his truck seat. The detective on scene described it later, like someone had broken the ring apart and tossed the rest. That same night, Lauren made a call to her insurance company. Records show she phoned at 7:42 p.m., inquiring about coverage on the auto shop. She asked 2 questions: whether fire damage was included and how fast claims were processed. The agent said the call lasted less than 3 minutes. When police questioned her, she said she called on impulse, in case he did something stupid. The remark stuck with him. What something stupid was she afraid of? And if Michael had disappeared voluntarily, why would she assume there'd be a fire? Within hours, that offhand comment would feel less like worry and more like a warning. April 17th ended with no sign of Michael Carter. By sunrise the next day, his face was on every local broadcast, his name trending across state lines. Pine Hollow had gone from quiet to crawling with reporters. And just as police began drafting a public appeal, dispatch received a call from a driver on Highway 29. "There's smoke," he said, breathless, coming from the direction of Carter's auto. Within minutes, every emergency siren in town was wailing. 24 hours after Michael Carter disappeared, his business was burning to the ground. The fire started just before 5 a.m. When first responders arrived, flames were already shooting 30 feet into the air. The metal roof had collapsed inward. Locals said they could feel the heat from 2 blocks away. Fire crews fought the blaze for nearly an hour before declaring it contained, but by then, the building that once housed Carter's Auto Works was reduced to twisted steel and ash. And in that ash, investigators would find something that changed the course of the entire case. The fire marshal's report came back fast. Point of origin, the office. Accelerant, gasoline. Which meant one thing: arson. The gas had been poured directly over filing cabinets and ledgers, the very spot where Michael kept his business and insurance records. Whoever set that fire wasn't just trying to destroy property. They were trying to erase evidence. Police immediately questioned Lauren again. She claimed she'd been home, asleep with the kids, and had no idea the fire had even happened until a neighbor called her. But when detectives examined her phone, they found she'd searched for gasoline flashpoint and how long to burn down a garage just 2 nights prior. When confronted, she broke down. "It wasn't what it looks like," she said. "Michael was scaring me. He'd been acting strange, saying things about disappearing. I wanted to understand what he was capable of." But investigators weren't sure whether she was trying to explain or rehearsing a defense. The official search for Michael shifted from missing person to possible foul play. Drones were redeployed along the river. Dive teams swept the shallow banks. Detectives re-interviewed every employee, every friend, every supplier. That's when one small detail resurfaced, something that had been overlooked in the first 24 hours. A gas receipt, time-stamped 4:18 a.m., had been found half-burned in the shop parking lot. It was from a station across town, paid in cash. But the clerk remembered something odd. The person pumping gas kept looking over their shoulder. They filled a red can, not a car. "Put up sunglasses." But I caught a glimpse. It was a woman. The attendant wasn't sure of her face, but he remembered the car. A silver crossover with a cracked rear taillight. The same model Lauren drove. Still, police needed more than coincidence. They needed a motive that made sense. That's when Detective Hall revisited Michael's financials. The auto shop had been profitable for years, but recently, transactions didn't add up. Money was missing, small amounts each week, withdrawn under miscellaneous expenses. Hall traced the withdrawals to a separate account, one in Lauren's name. Over $40,000 had been quietly moved there in the 6 months before Michael disappeared. When asked, Lauren said it was part of their divorce settlement in progress, her half. But the divorce hadn't even been filed yet. And then came the first real revelation. Detectives found surveillance footage from the night before the disappearance, April 16th. A traffic cam captured Lauren's silver crossover turning down the service road behind Carter's Autoworks at 10:42 p.m. That was hours after she told police she'd gone home. The headlights flicked off as the car rolled past the camera. 10 minutes later, the same vehicle left, this time with its back seat covered by a large tarp. Investigators froze the frame and enhanced the plate number. There was no mistaking it. It was Lauren's car. But what they didn't know was whether she'd been alone in that car or not. When officers showed her the footage, Lauren shut down completely. "I don't remember," she said quietly. "I went there to talk, but he wasn't there. Maybe I sat for a while. I don't remember." Forensic teams combed the car, and what they found next deepened the mystery. Traces of gasoline on the rear floor mat. A single strand of dark hair, not Lauren's. And under the passenger seat, a USB drive wrapped in duct tape. It contained a folder titled Proof. Inside that folder, photos, emails, and one shocking audio clip. The clip was dated 2 nights before Michael vanished. The recording began mid-conversation, Lauren's voice first. "If you walk away from this, you walk away with nothing. Then Michael, you've already taken enough. You want the shop too?" A pause, then a single sound, the unmistakable scrape of metal, like a chair being pushed back suddenly. Michael again, quieter. "Don't do something you can't undo." The audio ends there. The file name? FinalTalk.wave. When the police asked where the file came from, Lauren said she had no idea. She claimed Michael must have planted it there, that he had been paranoid, recording everything. But the timestamps proved otherwise. The file had been created on her laptop and transferred to the drive later. Theories began to split. Some detectives believed Lauren killed her husband and burned the shop to cover her tracks. Others suspected Michael had staged the whole thing to frame her and disappear clean. The media fed both angles, and Pine Hollow turned into a pressure cooker of gossip, grief, and anger. But just when the case seemed to settle into 2 sides, a phone rang inside the sheriff's office, and everything changed again. A man fishing 30 miles north of Pine Hollow called 911. He said he'd found a backpack tangled in driftwood near the river bend. Inside were men's clothes, a set of keys, and a wallet soaked but still intact. The driver's license read, "Michael Carter." Yet the backpack's zipper was melted, as if it had been near intense heat before ending up in the water. And that led to an impossible question. If Michael had been at the fire, how had the bag traveled 30 miles downstream before sunrise? Investigators had their first lead outside of town, and their first hint that someone else might be involved. The backpack discovery reignited the entire investigation. It wasn't just about a marriage gone wrong anymore. It was about something far bigger. A missing man, a burned business, and a trail of money leading nowhere. And at the center of it all, a woman claiming she had nothing to hide, and a town that no longer believed her. For weeks, the discovery of Michael Carter's backpack had the town buzzing with theories. The sheriff's office called in state investigators, divers, and even a private forensic team. But despite every sweep of the river, no body surfaced. To the community, it felt like Michael had simply evaporated. Rumors grew faster than facts. Some said he drowned. Others whispered he'd run off to Mexico with insurance money. But then, late one night, a new video clip surfaced. A piece of grainy footage that would become the center of the second revelation. A security camera from an old rest stop 32 miles north of town recorded a man buying snacks and gas just before midnight, 2 days after the fire. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a baseball cap pulled low. At first glance, nothing special. But as detectives froze the frame and enhanced the footage, one detail sent chills through the room. The man was wearing Michael Carter's jacket, a custom work coat embroidered with the name Carter's Autoworks. The timestamp, April 19th, 48 hours after Michael supposedly vanished. The news exploded across Pine Hollow. The ghost of Pine Hollow, the headlines read. Neighbors who once mourned Michael were now questioning if they'd been fooled. Lauren refused to speak publicly, locking herself inside her home. Theories flipped overnight. Maybe she wasn't the villain. Maybe she was the victim of the ultimate betrayal. But the truth, as investigators would find, wasn't that simple. State investigators traced the man's movements through gas station receipts and ATM withdrawals. Each transaction was made with cash. No cards, no IDs. But one ATM camera captured a partial reflection in the screen, his face, half lit by the machine's glow. Forensic facial mapping placed the probability at 92% match to Michael Carter. 92%. That meant there was still an 8% chance it wasn't him. And in true crime, 8% is all it takes to unravel an entire story. Investigators dug into Michael's past. Business loans, debts, personal contacts. What they found was unsettling. 3 months before his disappearance, he'd been in contact with a bankruptcy consultant. Emails revealed mounting debt, unpaid invoices, and letters from a property developer threatening to buy out his shop. The same developer had a pending insurance claim for another accidental fire just a year earlier. Suddenly, the idea of Michael vanishing didn't seem so far-fetched. Maybe he wasn't running from someone, but with someone. Detectives found more evidence hidden in plain sight. The burned office safe, once assumed destroyed, still had a salvageable compartment. Inside, a folded contract with the developer's company logo. And taped to the back of the metal plate, a small piece of paper with a single phrase. If you're reading this, I'm gone. The handwriting matched Michael's. That discovery split the case wide open. Was it a farewell or a setup? Either way, it pushed investigators toward the one place they hadn't yet looked, the developer's abandoned property outside town. The warehouse sat empty, silent, hidden behind rusted gates. Inside, state investigators found a workshop filled with car parts, burned tools, and, astonishingly, a half-dismantled truck identical to Michael's pickup. The VIN number had been filed off. Forensic testing revealed traces of Michael's blood on the driver's side door. But it wasn't a fatal amount. Maybe a cut, maybe a struggle. Whatever happened in that warehouse, it was part of a plan, one that didn't end there. One investigator recalled, it looked like someone was trying to build a new identity from the pieces of the old one. Beneath a pile of scrap metal, they found burned documents, one partially intact, a passport application. The name listed wasn't Michael Carter. It was Mark Karen. Same birthday, same photo. Different name. When they ran it through federal records, they found the passport had already been issued 2 days before the fire, Michael Carter wasn't missing. He had reinvented himself. The revelation hit Pine Hollow like an earthquake. For months, the town had been divided, half calling Lauren a murderer, half calling her a widow. Now both were wrong. She wasn't a killer, but she wasn't exactly innocent either. Investigators discovered Lauren had co-signed the developer's loan, making her financially complicit in the deal that ruined Michael. And according to digital logs, she'd been communicating with him even after he vanished. Messages sent through encrypted apps under fake names, which meant the fire, the disappearance, and the insurance policy might have been a two-person job. When confronted, Lauren finally broke her silence. "He said we'd start over," she said through tears. "That the fire would look accidental, that we'd cash the insurance, pay the debts, and leave this town for good." She claimed she backed out at the last minute, that Michael went ahead alone, and she hadn't seen him since. Investigators couldn't verify her story, but it fit every missing piece. The fake passport, the gas receipts, the missing money, the burned shop. And somewhere out there, if the footage was real, Michael Carter was still alive, living as Mark Caron. The case remains open to this day. Lauren was never charged, but she left Pine Hollow soon after. The shop lot stands empty now, a chain-link fence around it, weeds pushing through concrete. Locals still say that on quiet nights, you can hear the faint hum of an engine echoing from where the garage once stood. No one knows if it's just the wind or something else. They called him the ghost of Pine Hollow, a man who burned his past to build a new name, leaving behind a wife, a business, and a story that still haunts the town. And every year, on the anniversary of the fire, someone leaves fresh flowers at the gate. No card, no note, just a single red rose, and a small, folded piece of paper that always reads the same. Some things can't stay buried. Pine Hollow never really recovered. The fire that gutted Carter's auto works left more than a hole in the ground. It left one in the town's trust. Every local, every neighbor, every friend who once waved at Michael and Lauren from across the street now looks back and wonders, how much of what we saw was ever real? Was this a love story that turned sour, or a perfect crime disguised as heartbreak? The answer might depend on who you believe, the missing husband or the woman he left behind. In the years since the fire, investigators continued to chase every possible lead. There were reported sightings of Mark Caron across several states, a mechanic in New Mexico, a contractor in Oregon, a drifter seen fixing car for cash near truck stops. None confirmed, but one from a highway camera near El Paso stood out. A man filling up an old blue pickup looked straight into the lens. The resemblance was uncanny. Detectives sent it to Lauren. She stared at the image for a long time before whispering, "That's him. I know those eyes." But she didn't ask them to bring him back. That moment changed the tone of the entire case. Maybe Lauren wasn't searching for justice anymore. Maybe she just wanted closure or peace. In her last interview before leaving Pine Hollow, she said something that still echoes in local memory. People think a fire erases everything, but it doesn't. It just changes what's left behind. The same could be said for the truth, burned, but never fully gone. Investigators still debate whether Michael's disappearance was a calculated fraud, a desperate escape, or an accident that spiraled out of control. Some believe he faked his death, framed the scene, and vanished with the help of people who had just as much to lose. Others believe something darker happened, that Lauren did confront him that night, and what followed was panic, fire, and cover-up. The evidence walks a fine line between both worlds, like smoke that refuses to settle. And that's the cruel thing about stories like this. Everyone burns for their own reasons. Still, every few months, another strange message appears in the sheriff's tip line inbox. No return address, no name, just 4 words. Check the old road. Police follow it every time. Nothing. But locals say sometimes, on foggy mornings, a single tire track appears on that old gravel road leading toward the river, then vanishes halfway down the bend. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's him. Or maybe Pine Hollow is just haunted by what it doesn't want to forget. In the end, Michael Carter's story isn't about guilt or innocence. It's about how quickly trust can turn to suspicion, and how love can dissolve into fear. It's about a man who built his future with his hands, only to burn it down with those same hands, or let someone else do it for him. And it's about a woman caught between loyalty and survival, staring at the ashes of the life she once knew. The kind of story that forces you to ask, if it were you, what would you have done differently? Sometimes, the most haunting crimes aren't solved in courtrooms or through evidence bags. They linger in whispers, in rumors, in the uneasy feeling that we'll never really know what happened. That's what makes this story so powerful. Because somewhere out there, Michael Carter, or Mark Karen, might still be alive. Watching, listening, waiting for the world to stop asking questions. But we're still asking. Because stories like this don't end when the camera stops rolling. They end when truth finally surfaces. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Michael Carter faked his death and disappeared? Or do you believe something darker happened? Something Lauren never confessed? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Because every place, every town, has its own version of Pine Hollow. A story where someone vanishes, a secret burns, and the truth hides in the smoke. Pine Hollow became a place people whisper about, a warning told to those who think they can burn away their mistakes. But maybe that's why stories like this stay with us. Because deep down, we all wonder what we'd do if the walls closed in. If the life we built started to collapse, one lie at a time. Some run, some burn it all down, and some just disappear. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more cinematic true crime breakdowns every week. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and don't trust everything that survives the fire.